Welcome learners. Today we can discuss the fungus Penicillium. Let's see its systematic position. It belongs to the subdivision Ascomycotina and class Plectomycetes, order Aspergillales and family Aspergillaceae. Several species of Penicillium are present in the world and they are cosmopolitan in distribution. And they are commonly known as blue or green mold because of its blue or green colored spores. The genus gets its name from the Latin word pencillus, which means artist brush or painting brush, because its conidiophore is similar to artist brush. They commonly grow on decaying fruits, meat, leather and vegetables, etc. And it is also grows on the preserved fruits and jellies. Some species like Penicillium italicum, Penicillium digitatum are well-known plant pathogens which attack citrus fruits causing the soft rot disease. Some species of Penicillium are used for the production of cheese, organic acids and antibiotics. As you all know, the first antibiotic penicillin is obtained from Penicillium notatum by Alexander Fleming. And the species like Penicillium roqueforti and Penicillium camemberti cause fermentation in cheese, and it gives special aroma to the cheese. Then moving to its vegetative structure, the mycelium is well developed and profusely branched. And it is made up of colorless, slender, tubular, branched and septate hyphae, and the hyphae may unite to multinucleate condition. And they commonly grow superficially, but some hyphae may penetrate into the interior of the substratum to absorb food materials. Let me tell you the reproduction in Penicillium. There are three methods of reproduction: vegetative method, asexual and sexual methods. Let's see the vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation. The fragmentation is the vegetative method here. In fragmentation, the mycelium breaks up into small fragments by injury or maybe due to any other reason, and that each fragment then develops to a new mycelium of Penicillium. Next one is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction takes place by the formation of non-motile spores known as conidia, and which are produced exogenously at the tips of long, erect, specialized hyphae called conidiophore. These are the specialized hyphae which produce conidia on its tip, and they arise from any cell of the mycelium. And upon reaching a certain length, the septate conidiophore branches once, twice, or even more times, and they are called primary, secondary, or tertiary branches. This is the diagram showing the conidiophore bearing conidia, and this conidiophore branches once, twice, or thrice depending upon the species. Here the ultimate branches is called metulae, and this metulae produces group of flask shaped structures called sterigmata or phyalides. So the ultimate branch is called metulae, and this metulae produce a group of flask shaped structures called phyalides or sterigmata. And from these sterigmata, the non-motile, non-flagellated spherical conidia is formed. This is the diagram showing the conidia formation from the sterigma. Conidia are formed within the tips of sterigma. During conidia formation, the tip of the sterigma swells up and its nucleus divides by mitosis and forms two daughter nuclei. And one of the nuclei moves to the swollen tip of the sterigma, and that portion gets separated from the rest by the formation of a septum. So after mitosis, one daughter nuclei enter into the solen tip, and that portion gets separated from the rest by a formation of a septum, and thus a uninucleate conidium is produced. This is the uninucleate conidium, and the tip of the sterigma below the first formed conidium is again swells up. Below the first formed conidia, the tip of the sterigma again swells up, and a second conidium is formed by repeating the same process. So, the conidia in the chain arranged in a basipetal way or basigenous way, that is older conidia on the tip and younger on at the base. And this basipetal arrangement permits ready dispersal of mature conidia from the tips. So this is the development of conidia from sterigmata. First, the tip of the sterigma swells up and mitosis takes place. Two nuclei form. One nuclei enter into the swelling, and it gets separated from the rest of the body by a septum, and uninucleate conidium, first conidium is formed. Below the first conidium, the sterigmata again swells up and repeating the process. So, a chain of conidia formed exogenously in a basipetal way. Let me tell you the sexual reproduction of Penicillium. Some species of Penicillium are homothallic and some others are heterothallic. The male reproductive organ of Penicillium is antheridium, and the female sex organ is called ascogonium. The female sex organ arises as an erect unicellular branch from any cell of the mycelium. In the initial stage, the young ascogonium is uninucleate, but its nucleus undergoes repeated mitotic divisions as the ascogonium matures. The mature ascogonium is unicellular and multinucleate with a 32 or 64 nuclei. And coming to the antheridium, it is the male sex organ. After the initiation of ascogonium, an antheridial branch developed from the same hyphae on which the ascogonium is formed. So, this is the young ascogonium. It's a unicellular structure, unicellular erect structure, and after maturation, the ascogonial nucleus undergo repeated mitotic division and form 32 or 64 nuclei. Meanwhile, a slender uninucleate hyphal branch originates from an adjacent cell of the same hypha, which give rise to the ascogonium, or from a separate neighboring hypha. It is the antheridial branch. This is the antheridial branch. It grows up coiling loosely around the ascogonium, making several turns about it. Okay, and this is the antheridium which coils spirally around the ascogonium. In mature ascogonium, the distal end is curved like the handle of an umbrella. The antheridium contains single nucleus. The antheridium has only one nucleus. During the fertilization, the tip of the antheridial branch touches the ascogonium and the contacted wall dissolves, and antheridial nucleus does not migrate to the ascogonium, but probably it degenerates. But there is mixing of antheridial and ascogonial cytoplasm takes place, and this is followed by the segmentation of the ascogonium, because mere contact of the antheridium protoplasm stimulates the ascogonium, and the female nuclei in the ascogonium, however, arrange themselves in pairs, and the pairing of the female nuclei in the ascogonium is called autogamy, and each pair is called a dikaryon. With the establishment of these dikaryones, the haplophase ends and the dikaryophase starts in the life cycle. And after the formation of this row of binucleate cells, some of these cells give rise to multicellular ascogenous hyphae. So from these binucleate cells there arise certain fertile ascogenous hyphae which are multicellular with the dikaryotic cells. And this is the enlarged structure of ascogonium bearing the multicellular ascogenous hyphae. This is the segmented binucleate cell of ascogonium. From the side of that you can see that the multicellular ascogenous hyphae is produced. The ascogenous hyphae also contain binucleate cells, and the terminal cell of each ascogenous hypha function as ascus mother cell. So this is the terminal cell which become act as ascus mother cell, and its two nuclei fuse to form a diploid nucleus. And this diploid nucleus of the young ascus first undergo a meiotic division followed by mitotic division, and thus 8 nuclei are formed. Each nucleus gets surrounded by cytoplasm and develops to an ascospore. Out of 8 ascospores, 4 belongs to one strain and the others belong to the other strain. So this is the mature ascus containing the 8 mature ascospores. So the simultaneously with the development of the ascogonium and ascogenous hyphae, some sterile hyphae may develop around the ascogonium. These are the sterile hyphae which surrounds the ascogonium and ascogenous hyphae. They form a multi-layered protective covering called peridium, and this forms a protective covering for the ascogonium and ascogenous hyphae, that is called peridium. The ascogonium and the ascogenous hyphae surrounded by the peridium form a fruiting body called ascocarp. This is the fruiting body of penicillium, and this is a completely closed structure. You can see that this is a closed structure, there is no holes, and this completely closed structure of penicillium is called cleistothecium, and the ascocarp of penicillium is called cleistothecium because it is a closed ascocarp, that is, it is a cleistothecium type of ascocarp. There are numerous asci which are irregularly placed within the ascocarp, and during maturation and upon maturity the ascus wall dissolves and the ascospores are float on the nutritive fluid in the cleistothecium. So the ascus wall, this is the ascus wall, upon maturation they breaks and the ascospores are liberated to the nutritive fluid of the cleistothecium, and by the decay of the cleistothecium wall the ascospores are liberated. Only after the decay of the cleistothecium the ascospores are liberated outside, and they germinate on a suitable substratum and forms a new mycelium of penicillium. This is the entire sexual reproduction of penicillium. So ascocarp, development of ascocarp I already discussed, and some sterile hyphae develop around the ascogonium and ascogenous hyphae. They form multi-layered protective covering. They are called peridium, and the ascogonia and the ascogenous hyphae are surrounded by the peridium form a fruiting body called ascocarp, which is completely a closed structure. So the closed ascocarp of penicillium is called cleistothecium. This is the entire life cycle of penicillium. This showing asexual reproduction where conidia formation occurs, and that conidia germinate to produce the new haploid mycelium. And this is the diagram showing this is sexual reproduction. This is the female sex organ ascogonium, and this is the male sex organ antheridium, and the antheridium and ascogonium contact each other, and they produce numerous fertile ascogenous hyphae, and the tip of the ascogenous hyphae act as ascus mother cell. The tip of the cell is in binucleate condition. The two nuclei fuse to form diploid nucleus, and a meiosis and mitotic division takes place. So 8 ascospores are formed within the mature ascus, and after the formation, after that the cleistothecium, the several asci are arranged inside the closed fruiting body called cleistothecium, and after maturation the ascospores are liberated within the cleistothecium in the nutritive fluid, and by the decay of the cleistothecium wall the ascospores are liberated and they germinate to produce the penicillium. Okay, this is the entire life cycle. Thank you for listening.